Hello, everyone. How are you? My name is Jennifer with Dogs and Rescue South Florida, and I'd like to welcome everyone to another in our series of DRSF discussions. Not sure if you've caught our last couple videos, but we've been doing a couple in a series of having an opportunity to chat with some of our foster homes. And today we welcome Scott and his wife Raimee will be joining us in a couple minutes, and they are the hosts of the Wiggle Butt Resort. So also on our panel today, we have President Pam, who heads up our foster program. And once again, looking to just share a little bit of information about our program, how it works, a little behind the scenes information, and for anyone that's interested in taking that plunge into the foster pool to join us. So Scott, thank you for joining us. Pam, thank you as well.
Our pleasure. Hi, Scott. Good morning, Scott. Okay, so just kind of give people an idea of what made you start, what gave you the idea that this would be a good thing to do and to start fostering for Dogs and Rescue South Florida.
Well, we got involved in a weird way. We got involved, we were out for dinner one night and we ran into someone with 4 dachshunds and it was just up the street, and my wife's like going, "Oh, let's go see the dogs." I'm going, "No, come on. And so we got involved and we started doing some volunteering. We started doing some transporting, and we started going to events like adoption events. And then one day, Raimee, we were about to leave town and she says, "Let's try fostering." I said, "Okay." We filled out the application and we were going on our yearly vacation back to where I came from, Minnesota. And when we came back, they gave us a little girl by the name of Angelina, which was a little difficult. She was one of our only alphas we've ever had in this house.
Yeah, she was challenged, wasn't she?
She was a challenge. First of all, we were kind of new to it. We didn't know what to expect. But she also had a personality that would she wanted to dominate all dogs. And she didn't like white for some reason. We had a white standard poodle that we were watching super long term for someone. And every once in a while that Angelina would go up and bite the paw and she'd come out with hair in her mouth, sticking into her teeth. And we never understood why, but she just didn't like it. But she had been mauled by a dog. She had virtually had a lot of her skin taken off of her head. And then about 2 weeks into it, she came down with IVDD. And she started like not walking, tipping over. And it was on the weekend. So then we got her into the vet first thing Monday morning and they did surgery. Luckily it was the type that goes through the neck. So it wasn't the big long scar and the longer. But my wife really bonded to her, and she slept on the floor with her because she would not stay in the cage. She hated the cage. She only stayed there for a couple days. So we had a spare room, and she went in the spare room with her and slept on the floor with her. And they really bonded. It took about 4 months before we found the perfect match.
Yeah. And so after that beginning, why did you come back?
Well, the second one was Munchkin, and he's still a part of our family. Hardest challenge was the third one, and that was Dempsey.
Yeah.
And he was an angry dog.
Was an angry dog, yeah. Yeah.
He would crawl up in my lap and want to be petted, and you go to pet him, he'd crawl. And so we reached out to Pam, and she got us some help. We went into training. And it got a lot better. I mean, he was very food aggressive, super food aggressive. But we both got bit. I got bit on the second day we had him. We took him out for dinner. That was kind of a thing that we did. The first night we got him, and we took him out, and he was fine. The second day I took him for a walk, and I went to adjust his harness because his leg came out of it. We went to twist it, and he just snapped and got my hand. And so we got some help. And we learned a lot about dogs and what we needed to do to do it. And we took some time off after that, and we came back, and it's been a really good experience since then. We've had a lot of great dogs. We've met a lot of great people, and we realized that and we wanted to give back. And part of the problem is my job, I can't necessarily say, oh, I could be there from at 6 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night to do volunteering wherever we wanted to. My job is difficult. It has variable times. So we thought this was a great way to give back. it fits into our time frame. If we can do extra things like transporting, we do. If we can't, we just say we pass on it. And we do it whenever we can, and we do how many dogs we can that we feel comfortable with, that it's not overwhelming. And a few times it's gotten overwhelming. We talk about it afterwards and go, okay, 9 dogs is a little much. Let's go down to 8.
Right. Yeah. And you've taken breaks in between there and done what's best for you. So, and how many dogs, who do you have right now?
We have Slinky right now.
You have Slinky. Slinky has not been introduced yet because we're waiting for his dental before we put him up for adoption.
Yes.
And what number dog is he for you guys? Do you know?
He's number 82.
82.
We think.
So yeah, it's amazing. We talked to Sullivan's yesterday, and they're at 92. And out of those 82, how many of you adopted?
We personally we adopted 6. Raimee's uncle adopted 1.
So 7 out of those are dachshund rescue dogs.
Yep.
Okay. What would you say to people who say that they could never foster because they can't let them go? That they can't allow that? Because even, you talked about Dempsey, who was one of the more difficult dogs that we've probably ever had. He was a really difficult dog, but we found him the right home. I flew up to New Jersey to meet his dad, and the guy loved him. He just didn't pick him up and didn't mess with him. He had a great outside, nice fenced yard. He was awesome. So what do you say to somebody that because that dog was easy to let go, I imagine, but there are some that are not like that.
Well, what I tell them is you can adopt one or foster many. And we might be crying and we might be heartbroken that they've left us. But in the end, we know that they're going to a home that really cares.
Yeah.
They're not walking into a place like a shelter and saying, here, I want this dog, and 5 minutes later they're walking out with it. They have to go through a lot of work, a lot of interviewing. And we usually spend anywhere, probably the shortest adoption's a half an hour.
Yeah.
Our average would be an hour to an hour and a half, somewhere hour and 15-minute average adoption in our house, hanging out with the people with the dog. We want to make sure that they're successful and that they know everything that we know about that dog. Right. And we don't hold back, because we've had 2 returned in the 8 years we've been doing it, or 7 years. And both of those were people one of them didn't tell us they had a dog. So we always encourage them to bring the dog with them if there's another dog, so we can help with the introductions. We also spend some time about how to bring the dog in the house. If you have a dog, and even if they're meet ahead of time, bring the new dog in first. We're very adamant about that dog can come in and smell around and then come in.
Yeah.
And then we do the same thing with ours. I mean, we throw our dogs all out. We bring the new dogs in. They're used to having dogs come and go.
Right.
But their dogs are territorial. So we're really adamant about that part of it. We spend time with them. We don't rush them. I mean, we've spent 3 hours sometimes with people. We enjoy their company, and we make sure that they're successful. Periodically, we get a text back from people. Hey, he's doing great. I mean, recently we had one dog that would not stop humping for the 10 days he was here. He went home to the family, and they love him.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what?
Yeah, it's just every dog, and we try to say that all the time. Every dog responds differently, and you can't expect the same behavior every time. So your overall advice to that is, that you can let them go because that you trust our process. And that we're doing our best to make the best matches possible.
Yep, and sometimes we see them at events a year, 2 years later.
It's always so awesome, isn't it?
Yep, it's great to see them.
So how's fostering affected how you care for your own pets? Has it given you any info,
It's given us some info. It makes us realize how precious they are, how precious our dogs are, and how if we want one to stay with us, that it needs a certain personality that can let dogs come and go.
Yeah.
And that they can't be so possessive of us. that they can't have another dog come crawl up in my lap and say hi and that type of stuff. I mean, a dog who's very possessive and would not work in this house. So it makes us care for the dogs a little bit differently. I mean, they're always having company. Okay. They have fun with them. Sometimes they play, sometimes they don't. Kind of depends on the age of the dog. The younger dog will go play with. We have one that's called Oreo, who lost an eye, who's probably about 4 years old or 4 years old now. And she just loves it. And she'll sit there and play for hours with the Fosters. Or some of the other dogs will just cuddle with them. Some of the dogs have nothing to do with them. So it varies, but it makes us care for our dogs pretty much the same, but we're a little bit, we don't think of the Fosters any differently than they were our dogs. We treat the Fosters just like we would treat our dog. The only exception we do is we try not to let the Foster sleep in our bed. And the reason why is because we want to break that habit. And the reason is because some people don't want their dog sleeping in their bed with them. But it's easier to take a dog that's sleeping on the floor and put them in your bed than having a dog that's been sleeping in someone's bed and put them on the floor.
Right. One of the problems that we've run into, especially during this pandemic, is that a lot of the people that are wanting to foster right now are looking at it more as a trial run. So they think that they're going to pick who they're going to foster based on who they think they might want to adopt. And as somebody that has failed a few times, my feeling is that the reason that fosters are more successful and understand it and like our program better is because they just kind of let the process work and bring these dogs into their house without expectations of adopting, and some just steal your heart. Is that kind of how you find this, that you're not really you don't get to hand pick? You know, I send you a couple pictures and you say this or that.
Well, one thing I do is I trust your process, because a couple times we've asked for dogs and they haven't been the perfect match for us, and you've given them to us. And I keep telling Raimee, my wife, hey, this is not the best way.
I'm asking her.
Well, the reason why is because you know our situation. You know all the Fosters have been around for a while. You talk to them, you understand their situation, and you match it best for that situation. Because we like a little bit older dogs, even though you sent us some young, they've all pretty much gotten along with our dogs. There's people who don't have other dogs or don't have a lot of other dogs that would be better, other dogs would be better in their situation than ours. So I trust the process. And then the ones that really you keep are the ones who just kind of come in and they just are here, and you realize, wow, this is a special dog. Because the one you think it's the one isn't necessarily the one. I mean, the one that was a dog who came to us, he was fairly early on, was Frankie. He was 28 and a half pounds, and he was super heavy. And he came in and he was such a great dog. He was a dapple. And you could talk to him and he'd like turn his head and say, like, listen to you. And he ended up being an incredible dog. And I fell for him slowly but surely. And that's really what you want. You want to create that long-term bond, because it's not like a pet store where you're going, oh, this is a beautiful dog. Dogs have a personality inside of them that work for you or against you. And you have to, and you get to know them first, and you know, oh, this is a good match for that. Yeah. And then as we get to know them, we pass that on, and they find the permanent home for them. Okay. And that works the best. You have to trust the system that we've been using for years.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Okay, so we're going to wrap up here, and but we wanted to just, if people want to follow your Facebook page, how do they find you, Scott?
We're on Facebook. It's called Wiggle Butt Resort.
2 words, right?
3 words. Wiggle
3 words.
Butt Resort.
Okay.
Yeah. So it took us a while to figure out a name for it. That's why we're fairly new at it, but we're doing our best. I mean, it's between both of our jobs being very busy and work and other things, it's hard to sometimes put things up, but we find a way. And a lot of times it's little teasers and we see what other people are doing.
Right.
So.
Jen, anything to add before we go?
Nope, that covers everything. So thank you, Scott, for your time and joining us today, and Pam, and everybody out there. Be sure to check out Wiggle Butt Resort on Facebook, and you can follow along with Scott and Raimee and all of their fosters. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next round.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Bye.